Jim, a great opportunity to get back to winning ways. Packed Tannadice midweek under the lights against Motherwell, and I'm guessing the players already are looking forward to that one immensely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the last time we played Motherwell, it was a really close encounter. Obviously, we came out on the wrong side of the result in the cup, but they're a very well organised team. They carry a real attacking threat, and we have to respect them. But at the same time, we're delighted that the game is coming so quickly after the disappointment of the weekend in Aberdeen, and a really good opportunity to put things right.
Now, I know you mentioned it, and we were well aware of it, the strain on your squad, your first team picks at the moment. Is there any change with any of the injured players ahead of this one?
No, unfortunately, I think this midweek game is going to come a little bit too soon for a few of those injured lads. They're making great progress, in particular Ross Graham and Louis Moult, and we're hopeful of having those guys available for the game of the weekend. But this Wednesday, we'll have to go with the squad that we had available to us against Aberdeen.
I know the cliche is it gives opportunities to others. Sam's come in and done well up front. I think as well that some of your younger players have come to the fore. I think I was saying to Mark just before, Luke has really grown into that right back role, but he's got a bit of competition now with Ryan Strain being fit again.
Look, you want to have competition right throughout the squad, and unfortunately in recent weeks, we haven't really had that. Particularly in the middle of the pitch, there's a big demand on the likes of Sevelj, Babunski. Obviously pleased to get O'Dada some minutes on Saturday as well, but we are missing some really influential players. Obviously our captain Ross Docherty, Craig Sibbald, who's been a mainstay in the team since I've came to the club, and obviously we're light of options at the top end of the pitch as well, with Louis Moult being out. So as manager, you just tend to focus on the players that you have available to you, and you're right to point out Lucas Stevenson. He's been excellent since he's came in, that right wing back role. He's made that his own, and but the great thing about Luca is he can play a number of different positions. Obviously we moved him into the middle of the park on Saturday just to try and give us a bit more legs in there, but Ryan Strain, he's not at a position yet where he can start in a game. Given the severity of the injury that he had, we have to make sure that we prepare him properly for when that time comes.
Is that one of these situations where he's probably just desperate to get on the starting sheet, but actually you've got to manage those minutes just to avoid a reoccurrence, because it was a terrible tear?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we just, we're all desperate to get Ryan in the team because we know how good he is. He's probably been the outstanding player in that position in the league for a couple of seasons now, and he is chomping at the bit to get back playing, but he understands the situation as well. We have constant dialogue with the surgeon, obviously the medical team, and there is a plan in place for Ryan to make sure that we can to make sure that he's fully fit and ready, and there isn't going to be any risk of any breakdown in the process.
On a similar note, Christian came off obviously as a substitute at the weekend. He's one that's coming back from injury. Is he just a bit further ahead? Was that just a precaution?
Yeah, he's another one that's back from a hamstring injury who was just a little bit fatigued going into the second half. That hamstring was starting to tighten up a little bit, which is why we had to make the change, and obviously we were under a lot of pressure in that second half from Aberdeen, so we had to change the system a little bit to try and stem the flow of the attacks that Aberdeen were having. But now Christian will be fine for Wednesday.
Motherwell, another team a bit like Dundee United that perhaps had a better start to the season overall. They're playing better. They've obviously got a star in Lennon Miller and others, but this feels like it's quite a nice kind of teams that are looking to be in the top six, and you're fighting legitimately for places in that top six.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think Motherwell will have a similar outlook to ourselves, in terms of making sure we garner enough points to make sure that we stay in the Premiership. But then, we'll have inside ambitions of trying to force their way into that top half of the table, and similar to, I would imagine, 7 or 8 other teams in the league as well. So yeah, they're a very good team. As I said, they've got a really good blend of experience and youth within their squad. Lennon Miller obviously is stealing the show at the moment with his goal contributions, and it's great to see a young Scottish talent being given the opportunity by his manager and taking it.
One thing I was going to ask, and it's maybe a difficult one, but bearing in mind you're just fresh out the Championship, and we had a lot of conversations with Dundee about this last season. A lot of turnover in the window. Are you slightly further ahead at this point, early as it is in the season, than maybe you thought you'd be?
Well, I think that's along the lines of the meeting that I had with the players this morning was when we're doing our debrief with regards to the Aberdeen game, and trying to put things into perspective. The immediate emotions after the game are one of real disappointment, because obviously we lost the game and we went up there with a plan to try and bring a positive result back down the road. But I think it's important to remind ourselves sometimes of where we've came from in terms of promotion from the Championship, the volume of new players that we've brought in, 13 new signings, the fact that Aberdeen game was only our second defeat in the league up to now. Obviously, we lost a game narrowly to Rangers, 1-0 at home as well, prior to that one. So I think in terms of where we are at the moment, I'm really, really pleased, especially with all the other things going on with regards to the lack of strength and depth. We want to get to that situation where we've got real depth and real competition for places, but it's not going to happen overnight. We've had one summer window. It's very much a work in progress as far as I'm concerned, and it's very much the beginning of the project. So we've got an opportunity on Wednesday night. If results go our way and we manage to win the game on Wednesday night, to be sitting third in the table after 10 games, which is quite remarkable for such a new group.
Yeah, you answered my final question before the team news on was just literally that. You've got so many points I've asked already. Where you are in the division, you're actually able to look upwards at the moment, because, as you say, the way the results could fall and the way you hope they'll fall could put you in a really great position come Wednesday night. It
could, yeah, and I mean, look, we're being really positive. The second half on Saturday was a real tough test, and I think Aberdeen were excellent in that second 45 minutes, and it shows you the differences in the two squads with the substitutions that Yimatilan can make. Aberdeen have invested heavily in their squad in the summer, and the recruitment has been really, really good, and hence why they're sitting at the top of the table along with Celtic at the moment. So, we hope to be in that situation ourselves one day in the future. But right now, it is about staying in the Premiership. Yes, we're delighted with the position that we're in at the moment, but we can't take our eye off the ball. We've all been in the game long enough to know how quickly things can turn either positively or negatively, and if we start thinking too far ahead and start getting comfortable in this position, then things can change very, very soon. So we have to approach this Motherwell game being the home team, being on the front foot and being positive, but at the same time giving Motherwell the utmost respect, because I know that they carry a real threat themselves.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And I know you spoke about obviously difficulties with injuries, especially the last few games. And does that make having a quick turnaround like this a little bit more of a headache than it usually would? Obviously, like to have a game right off the back of a defeat, but just in terms of managing the workload of the players that you've got with a smaller group.
Yeah, I think some of the bigger teams in the league with the bigger squads will no doubt be able to freshen things up midweek, and then maybe make a number of changes then prior to the weekend as well. We don't have that luxury ourselves at the moment, so there's no point making excuses about it. The players know what's at stake, and they'll get the best of recovery in terms of with the sports science team and massage and everything else to make sure that we're ready for the game on Wednesday.
And obviously you've talked about the table looking upwards as well, but a win against Motherwell can sort of build a nice gap between yourself and them inside the top six. And is that something you need to look to try and capitalise on at the moment, while teams like Hearts and Hibs that are at the wrong end of the table would hope to be in the top six, and try and take advantage of them struggling a little bit at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, we haven't taken our eyes off the teams below us by any means. We're well aware of where we are at the moment and the points difference between the teams. We're really trying to focus on the positives and the reason why we've got the kind of results that we've got. It's been real grit and determination, and we've had to grind out some results of late. We've got a very good defensive record. I think it's the fourth best in the league at the moment. I think we're one of only 4 teams in the league with a positive goal difference as well at the moment. So there are lots of good things, but I reiterate the point that we can't get relaxed. We can't allow ourselves to stop doing the basics well, which is what has put us in this position in the first place. I think the league is really competitive. I think it's the most competitive it's probably been for a number of years. I would expect Hearts and Hibs to improve. I think it's a false position for both teams at the moment, given the strength and depth in both squads. Obviously, the new Hearts managers came in and had a really positive impact, but we can't overly concern ourselves with other teams. We just have to trust in our own process, believe in what we're trying to do, and hopefully off the back of that we'll get some positive results.
And just in terms of Motherwell, obviously you mentioned the cup game just a few weeks ago. Is it a case for many of the players of going out on Wednesday night looking for a little bit of revenge after that one?
I don't know if revenge is the right word, but I think over the course of that game, when we equalised in the second half, I felt we were in the ascendancy, and if a team was going to go and get that winner, I think most people at the game would have felt it would have been us, because we were well on top at that point. But it was the last kind of minute of the game where a rash decision has cost us a penalty, and ultimately there wasn't enough time on the clock then for us to get back into the game. But it was a disappointment. It was an opportunity to get to the semi-final and get to Hampden, and obviously we have to watch those games now this weekend, and with the slight envy that we're not one of those teams involved. But the league is the main priority. It goes without saying, and we're on track to hit our target for the first third of the season, and we've got some really important games coming up with Motherwell, Hibs and Ross County. So an opportunity we feel to get points, but certainly one of the games that we need to be careful of as well.